Howdy everyone, welcome back to another episode of PSR. This is exciting, this is special because we got something additively manufactured on the channel. This is a Recession Ruger. You might look at it and think it's cursed, but honestly I think it's mega based. A, because it uses the kind of forgotten Ruger P-Series design mixed with air fire controls and turned into a PDW. When these things came out, it was right around $100, the whole build. So that's why they call it the Recession Ruger, I think, is it's quite affordable. And it still is. The designer of this frame is originally Uber Clay, and then this is the R2 version of the Recession Ruger, which was designed by Unseen Killer. We're gonna dive deep into this thing. I'm gonna tell you all about it, but first I gotta thank some sponsors. The channel sponsor of PSR is Atrius Development Group. If you guys like going fast with your ARs semi-automatically, of course, you're gonna love Atrius, and they're just coming around the corner with the Geisley compatible FRS, the G lever. I'm super excited to check it out. If you guys like to go fast and want 10% off your entire order from Atrius, never in a million years use PSR for 10% off your entire order. Love what Atrius is doing, and shout out to Atrius for sponsoring this channel. Also got to thank the ammo sponsor, HSL Ammunition. HSL provided all the ammo we shot in this video. I used their 124 competition loads, shoots super flat in this gun. They make high quality stuff, but it's really affordable. So definitely check out HSL, and thank you to HSL for sponsoring the ammo on this channel. All right, so first I'm going to go into the Ruger P series of pistols, kind of a forgotten handgun when it comes to hammer fired guns of the mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s. So this is a Ruger P89 parts kit, which I have to thank Every Gun Part. Every Gun Part sent me all the parts needed for this build. If you guys want parts kits for any firearm, basically, Every Gun Part has got what you need. So huge thank you to Every Gun Part for providing the parts kit. Definitely check them out. So the Ruger P series started with the P85. Right around 1988-89, the US military was doing the XM9 and XM10 pistol trials for a new handgun for the US military. The P85 eventually lost to the Beretta M9, and we know the story with the Beretta M9. It was a pretty widely used handgun, and it stayed in service all the way up until they replaced it with the M17, and we know how that's gone. My buddy Hop did an awesome video on the original handgun version.
I'm not too upset by all those safety features though, because even Californians deserve to be able to buy guns.
An old video of Hop's, but I really like that video. So I will link that video in the description if you want more information on this thing. But in short, the P85, which is a first iteration, it did not win the trials. Beretta won, and they kept selling it to civilians. Definitely cool to see this thing reimagined into a PDW with the help of additive manufacturing. A couple years later, they released the P89. It had a couple improvements. There is a decocker version and a double action only version, I believe, that they came out with. It's kind of a bulkier gun. It's got a thick slide, which may have contributed to why it lost the contract. I'm not sure. I really love the aesthetics of it. There's something very nostalgic in the late 80s, early 90s in the design of how it looks, and I like the way it looks aesthetically. So in filming this video with the Recession Ruger, it's kind of made me interested in maybe picking up an original copy of the P89, P85 potentially, because it's just a cool pistol. It's a cool piece of history, so I may be in the market for trying to find one of these eventually. Now let's get to the Recession Ruger itself. So when this design was released, which was a few years ago, Uber Clay was designing it, and he wanted to make a affordable squirted DIY design. At the time when these came out, these parts kits were stupid cheap, under $100. You could basically put this thing together with the cost of the filament and some of the accessories for like anywhere between $100 and $200, which is why they call it the Recession Ruger. So it's really for the people out there on a budget that want a PDW kind of in the vein of a Flux Raider. The Flux Raider we have at home. One of the coolest parts of it is it's got these rails that are additively manufactured. If you're familiar with a lot of these squirted designs, they use metal rails. The rails are what the slide rides on, and you need that to be strong, you need that to be durable, and so usually the choice is metal. But in some instances, the slide does not need the strength and durability of an aluminum rail system. So these rails are actually additively manufactured, and they're retained by these nuts and screws here and here. They have been nothing but reliable for me thus far, and we have put a lot of rounds through this. Now I have to make a note quick because YouTube loves to demonetize and age restrict my videos that are about additively manufactured firearms. This is actually a serialized firearm that was manufactured for me by Titus Arms. Titus Arms has a squirt on demand service where you can request a design that you want, and he will do the manufacturing for you. So this does have a serial number. all my YouTube moderators out there. So this is not a scary unregistered gun. And it's also additively manufactured with nylon. So this is a CF nylon. One of the best things about this particular filament is that it is temperature resistant and it has good impact resistance. Nylons generally are better for hot temperatures, high temperature stuff. And this thing, no matter how many rounds we shot through it consecutively in the intro, it did not have a hiccup, and the rails have been dead solid. That is a nifty part of this design, and especially when it's in nylon, it feels super solid and very durable. Now this particular design uses Glock mags. So we got a P-mag in here right now just so we can stand it up. I have been shooting a lot of the Stendos and the Chris mag, which looks so crazy and sick in this thing. I just like the look of this thing because it looks very cyberpunk, very dystopian, but it's also got this cool retro classic look with the slide. One of the best parts of these squirted designs is a lot of them use AR fire controls. So this is a standard mil-spec AR fire control group, and we've got an AR safety as well. You can see the hammer when it fires. It hits that slide and hits the firing pin. I think there are some reduced power springs in here, but other than that, standard mil-spec trigger. Of course, we've got a Picatinny rail in the back, which I mounted this arm bar by J-Mac with the tail hook. Like I said, AR safety, AR grip, which is nice. You can switch out whichever one you want. This is a squirted grip that came with the design from Unseen Killer. One of the additional modifications that Unseen Killer made to this design over the original one, so the R2 actually uses a paddle mag release right here, which is really helpful to get that extra leverage that you need to release the magazine, as opposed to it being a little bit further up there. So I really like this kind of lever design. The paddle makes it just a whole lot easier to release the mag. But if you want to take it out with your thumb, you can also do that with that button right there. So it is ambidextrous, which is pretty sweet. So we have the safety ambidextrous on the slide, not ambidextrous on the frame, but you could do that. And then we have an ambidextrous mag release. As far as the hardware goes, it's very simple. It's just a few nuts and bolts and you're good to go. Stuff you could probably find at your local hardware store. Now, as far as accessories on here, just real quick, we got the Sentinel Defense holographic optic. This is a really neat optic that I'm doing some testing with, and I thought it would be cool to have this on this gun. It just barely clears the optic, and I just think it looks cool, and it's a big window. So this is a holographic sight similar to what you'd see with an EOTech in terms of technology. It's a lot less expensive and has much higher battery life. So I've been super impressed with this Sentinel. It's got a QD mount here. The window is super clear. The glass is clear. That's the optic. On the bottom, we've got an enforced light. I thought, you know, why not just put the big old rifle light on here? The rail is kind of low. You could put a grip on here, like a angled foregrip or something. This is a pistol, so we kept it with the flashlight here, and I think it works well. I do have to give a nod quickly to Ivan the Troll / Navigo Boom, a very prolific designer, for coming out with this kind of concept before the Recession Ruger with his 3011, which is a 1911, but in this kind of form. So it's a 1911 slide barrel with an AR fire control group, and it turns the 1911 into a PDW. So the 3011 really paved the way for stuff like this. So I'd have to give a shout out to Ivan. The other thing that's kind of cool about this design, given that it has a slide mounted safety, is when you put it on safe like this, totally safe. I've tried it, shooting it with the safety off on the AR, and it does not fire. So really two safety mechanisms, which is kind of neat. This is, like I said, kind of like the Flux Raider we have at home for a whole lot less. A Flux Raider can be about $1,200. It's not quite a fair comparison. It's a whole lot different in terms of aesthetics, but in terms of the goal, the use case, it's supposed to be a small PDW that's quickly deployed. They're very similar in that way. So I want to try the Flux Raider at home versus the real thing and see how they do, and then we'll get to some conclusions. But let's go shoot this thing. All right, so here we go with the Ruger P89 Recession Ruger R2. This thing is like super easy to rack. It's like feels honestly kind of like a 2011. Like I wonder if I might be able to rack it like that. It's got a softer recoil spring, probably just because it's pretty worn in, to be honest. Having a charging handle like in replacement for the dovetail rear sight would be nice. I'm sure there probably is a version that has that. I know that there's like an enclosed version too. I think that's the R3. As far as the mag goes, standard Glock, stick it in there. It does not feature a slide catch, slide release. So you do have to rack it back manually in order to check if you're clear. Once it's done, the hammer will hit the firing pin. There'll be nothing in the chamber, obviously. You just kind of have to pull it back and check. Suboptimal, a little bit more on the budget end of things. You can't just stick your mag in and then hit a slide release. Let's just see how she shoots here. You can kind of use the top of the slide to pull her back. And there we go. Let's go all the way down to 100. There it is. it's just really easy to shoot, and it's really easy to shoot quick. So I'll just dump the rest of this thing, see how fast I can go. Yeah, the quick, you know, slide reciprocation on most pistols, right? In combination with that and the AR fire control group makes it super easy to do a quick succession of shots. Next up, we're gonna try the Flux Raider P320. Like I said, this is quite a bit more expensive, a little bit more modern, and the coolest feature about it. So on the Flux Raider, you have a mag holder slash kind of front angled grip there. You could put something similar to that on the Recession Ruger. I just don't have it on there right now. We got a Gotar optic on here. It's an acro footprint. Let's see how she shoots. We do have a comp on here, so it's a little bit different. Nice. The comp on that definitely makes the concussion quite a bit heavy. Honestly, the trigger in the Recession Ruger is actually, I think, better than the P320 trigger. So that is an advantage, but this thing is a lot smaller when you collapse it, and definitely thinner profile. You can fit this actually in a holster, but with that folding brace on there, it is a little bit wider. Honestly, not a whole ton different. I want to see if we just do double taps, like which one feels better real quick. Oh yeah. All right, so I missed one there. I'll be very careful putting the P320 on the ground here. Oh, heck. Now let's try our Recession Ruger 3 shots. There's 3. Try the Flux. Yeah, so this one's a little bit, maybe a little bit punchier, just because it doesn't have the comp on it. It would be cool to get a threaded barrel. I don't know if they make those for this, but yeah, it's a little bit softer with the comp, but that's not really the fault of the Recession Ruger. I love this thing. I love the Recession Ruger, man. And there you go. Hammer down, check clear, release our mag, and we're good. Trigger's not as good on the P320. See how quick I can do the mag change on this thing. That was better. Also, if you didn't notice, we got a new camera lens. It's anamorphic 1.5x Blazar Remus 33mm for you camera nerds. Super cinematic lens. So if you noticed, props to you. You got a bug on the fucking lens. Oh, the Recession Ruger. I love it. You do have to make sure you pull the slide back all the way to reset that hammer. Pretty nifty. All right, so some conclusions on our R2 version of the Recession Ruger, designed by Unseen Killer, original design by Uberclay. This has been super fun. It's really cool that the additive manufacturing world can bring back a pistol from the dead like this P-Series and turn it into a modern style PDW. Obviously, we don't have the slide lock open feature, but the fact that you can use the AR fire control group and it's ambidextrous, that stuff is really neat. And of course you can mount an optic, which if this was the original pistol, you'd have to get it milled and get rid of the rear sight. So it adds quite a bit more functionality to it. It's super easy to shoot, super easy to keep on target. It's a fun project for a budget gun, a budget PDW. If you're feeling the financial squeeze, this is probably the PDW for you, honestly. I don't know where the kits are at now in terms of the prices, but this kit ran great from every gun part. We shot the shit out of this thing. I've probably put over 1,000 rounds for this at this point. We shot it the other day, the intro, we shot some more of the intro today, and it rips, dude. No problems, no issues at all. The way that the ejector is kind of just like on a hinge, on a pin, and so it's kind of flapping, and so sometimes if you're pointing it down and trying to load the mag, which I don't know why you would, that ejector can kind of get in the way a little bit. Other than that, it had no issues. The manufacturing by Titus Arms on this thing was spot on, perfect. If you're interested in his Squirt on Demand service, definitely hit him up. He's a cool guy. He's been on the channel before. Doing this video made me definitely want to seek out a P89 and try it out, because it's just cool to shoot this thing the way that this is, but I'm really curious how the original pistol shoots. Now, they did make the P-Series in a few different calibers, 40 Smith & Wesson as well as 45. I think that was the Ruger P90, not anything related to the FN, and that one 45 ACP compatibility. So all of those pistols are compatible with the Recession Ruger. The Recession Ruger does have a 45 dedicated frame that is slightly different to deal with the bigger size of the slide of the 45 version. It is really cool, I must say, to see this hammer and the AR fire control group kind of like a convertible where you can look at it actually working in real time, see that hammer going, and then every time the trigger resets, you can see it click up a little bit in the disconnector. And it's kind of like a cutaway almost of looking into an engine as it works. So we got some 180 FPS shots of this thing in slow motion, and it looks super cool. Just being able to look at it while you're looking at the footage, it's just a privilege to be able to see that. And it's cool that this design allows for you to do that. That's my review on the Recession Ruger R2. Big shout out to Unseen Killer and Uber Clay. Also shout out to Ivan. This was a whole lot of fun to shoot and film. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed the squirted content. I know you guys have been missing that, so hopefully this scratched your itch on that. Love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Do you think you'll be able to rack focus? It's gonna be really hard, but if you come in and start out there and then try practice, bang, 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 bang. Bang 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 bang. 3, 2, 1, go.